Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. This is Coralie. Glad you're here. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe and ring the bell so that you can be updated on all my upcoming videos. We're going to go ahead and get started, and today we're doing the eyeshadow palette tag, which is something that Ali Glines and Samantha March had started, and I know it's been going around. I'm a little bit late to the show, but hey, better late than never. But I have just recently gotten my new camera and some lighting, and so this is all where I start at the beginning of my channel. So again, thank you for stopping by, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, to start off the tag, the first question is show your newest palette. So I'm a little ashamed to say, but I did just do a big makeup haul recently here between Sephora and Ulta and a few other brands. So I had a few palettes that kind of came at the same time, close to the same time, but I would say my newest one is Melt Cosmetics. She's in Parties, and I actually just did a review on this, a wear test, first impressions kind of video. So go check it out. I will link that if you want to check it out, see what you think. But this is a beautiful palette. And again, I know there have been some reviews and talk of this lately, and it definitely looked a lot more like deep dark purples by initial reviews online, but definitely a lot, different than it appeared at first online. But it is definitely beautiful. So you want to see what the formulas are, colors, that kind of thing. Again, I did leave a review on those, but there are definitely some beautiful shades. So that is my newest palette. And the second question was show your oldest palette. So for me, again, I haven't been into makeup as long as some people here on YouTube, so most of my palettes are going to be newer within the last couple of years. But the story behind mine is my oldest is a Soft Glam, which, very sad to say, I've barely even touched. It is beautiful though. I know there have been a lot of, it was hyped. And again, I wasn't, I don't know so much about the hype at the time, but I can say that it is definitely beautiful. I'm a neutral shade lover, so definitely love that. Actually, though, honestly, my very first palette was technically the Naked 3 palette, but I actually ended up returning it because I don't know if I just had a bad formula or whatever, but it just wasn't performing the way I expected it to, at least from the hype and what the people at Ulta had talked me into buying it for. So I wasn't all that impressed. So I actually ended up returning that and ended up getting the Soft Glam instead. So that is actually my first palette. So the third question is, let's show your most expensive palette. Again, a little embarrassed to say this, but I do love Natasha Denona. I do have a few of her palettes, so my most expensive is my Star palette. And again, I hate to say I have so many palettes that I really haven't even had a chance to really dig into this and test it out. And I did get this within like the last month or so. So again, just because of my recent purchases. But again, here's the palette. It is beautiful. I love these colors. I love her formulas, the creamed powders, just different textures. I love a good textured shadow. So to me, this is beautiful, and I think it's worth the money. But that is definitely my most expensive palette. Now, of course, the next question is my least expensive palette. And again, I know a few different people had kind of looked at this in different ways. Technically, if you're looking at price point and bang for buck, what you're getting, for your money, I would have to say this Profusion Spectrum palette would be my most affordable. I got this for $4.98 to be exact on Amazon. I'm not really into bright color. I would love, to try them out, but unfortunately, I am a nurse. I work night shift, I work a lot, hate to say that as well, but so unfortunately I don't have a lot of time or a lot of places to go to really test out really colorful makeup, eyeshadows especially. I love eyeshadows, those are my favorite. So unfortunately I mostly stick to neutrals. So again, but depending on how you look at this question and how you want to answer it, the other one that would probably be my most expensive, which
Editing poorly here, that was supposed to be least expensive, sorry about that,
is e.l.f. the Bite Size Quads, and this one here is in cream and sugar. I also do have most of them, so I have most of these. I think the only one I'm missing is the, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, acai blue one is the only one. And again, I just knew I wouldn't get that much use out of that one because at least these have the neutral shades that I'm more into. And I know some blues can be very finicky, so I just didn't bother to get that. But I do have to say for the price point, those are actually very good quality shadows. So, all right, so the next question is your everyday palette. So again, unfortunately for me, I have so many different palettes that I'm really ashamed to say I haven't even had a chance to really try a lot of the palettes. I still have several sitting around that I still even have to, compare and test the formula and see what I think of those. So the one that I am going to talk about though that I have found recently, I don't know why, but I've really enjoyed this. I like the formula and it's definitely a good everyday one for me, is a more recent purchase for me, but the Artist Couture Supreme Nudes. And I did wear this, I believe, in one of my videos recently that I did, but this is a beautiful palette. And I know there have been comparisons of Kinky Sweat was one of the ones that did a comparison of this and Natasha Denon's recent bronze palette. And so definitely go check out her video. I will try to link it below. But really beautiful formula. And again, if you're looking for a little bit lower cost, a more, I would say, slightly diverse palette, because again, the bronze is very specific bronze shades, bronze colors, but this one at least has a little bit more variety of types of nudes. So again, if you're looking for a little bit more variety but still want that neutral type of palette, definitely a good one I recommend. So the next question is your most colorful palette. Again, I don't wear a whole lot of colorful shadows, so this one was a little bit limited. The Spectrum one that I showed earlier from Profusion is definitely one of my most colorful palettes, but one that I did more recently get, I hate to admit, I was so drawn in by this packaging. Just look at that. I mean, just the packaging alone is colorful. It's beautiful. I just wish I could get into color like that. I mean, I'd love to, but so this is the palette. And this one's by Makeup Revolution, and it is called their Forever Flawless Birds of Paradise palette. I mean, if that doesn't look tropical, I mean, it's beautiful though. The formulas, unfortunately, there are a couple of glitters in here, which I saw, but again, I really just, I wanted something to have for the colorful option. If I do want to delve in a little bit to colorful shadows, to at least have something, because again, I don't have very many colorful shadows, but I was really drawn in by the packaging, can't even lie. Now for my smallest palette, which is the next question, again, most people were saying the e.l.f. Bite Size palettes, which I had mentioned just a moment ago. Again, very good quality, worth the money, definitely like those. So again, a lot of people answer this question differently. So depending on if you're looking at grams and how large, how many grams are in the palettes, that type of size, or if you're looking for like the smallest actual palette with, a decent amount of shades still. Again, there's some different ways you could go with that, but I do have the Viseart Petite Pro in Apricotine, and very pretty. But again, this is definitely for the size of the pans and amount of shadows, I would have to say that's probably my smallest. Again, other than the e.l.f. ones, I would say that's probably a very good runner-up. Again, depending on how you're looking at that question. And then of course the next question, the opposite end of the spectrum, is my largest palette, which like most people had said is Morphe. Morphe palettes. I do have a few of the larger pan palettes, and one of the ones I have here is Stunning Vibes, which is a really pretty nice mix of color. Again, I guess you could say this is a little bit of a colorful palette, especially for me, but it is nice. Again, Morphe, quality's okay. I mean, it's not the best I've tried, but for price point, you definitely do get a lot of product for your money. So depending on if you're starting out or kind of where you are with things, that might be a good option for you. So the next question is the palette with the best memory. So for me, again, I haven't been into makeup this in depth for a very long time. So for me, the most recent memory that I have with a palette, I would have to say, is with Toddy's Textured Neutrals Volume 1. And this one is definitely very pretty. I don't wear a lot of glitter shades, but if I'm going to wear a glitter shade, this is definitely the glitter shade I'm going to wear. Very, very pretty palette. The only thing I would have to say negative about this, or that I don't understand maybe, is the second row, which is your sequin. The colors, I mean, they look almost exactly the same as the matte formula. And I mean, honestly, when you put on your lid, is, you know, you might get one or two little pieces of glitter that you can barely see, but there's just not a whole lot of difference between those two rows. So I feel like, you know, either there could have been another row of colors, or you know, a little variation here. So that would be really my only complaint. But I mean, the mattes, they're pigmented. They blend out nicely. Again, one of the only glitter formulas that I'll really wear. So other than that, I just wish maybe it had a little bit different formula for that second row, but that's it. So the next question is the palette worth the hype? For me, I don't know, there are a lot of palettes that I think are worth the hype. I love eyeshadow. It's hard to say there aren't a whole lot worth the hype, but the one that I'm going to mention is the Pat McGrath, and this is the Mothership Divine Rose 2, which is the 8th palette. And I did get the limited edition packaging, which is beautiful. It's stunning, and there are the shadows, and they're beautiful. Definitely her special formula is fabulous. I love her shadow formula, so definitely think it's worth the hype. Now, the next question, of course, on the other end of the spectrum on that one too, is the palette not worth the hype. And for me, one that I would say was not worth the hype is the Jaclyn-Hill. So this is her original palette. I probably, again, because I've only been into makeup a couple of years, like really into, I mean, I've had makeup for years, but really into makeup, I've only been for the last couple of years. So I'm sure I probably have her her newer formula, sorry about that. Probably have her newer formula, which to me, I mean, I have a lot of palettes that are way better than this. So to me, that one's not really worth the hype. So now the next question is a favorite palette from a favorite brand. Well, yes, this makes me happy. This is a Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette, and this is in the lighter formula, lighter shades, and I think this thing is beautiful. I love the formulas. I think her shadows are just beautiful. Definitely worth the price. I love this palette, and I have a bunch of her single shadows as well, and her metallic formula is just gorgeous. And actually, that is what I'm wearing on my eyes now. So I mean, look, that formula is just gorgeous. So some of her swatches. We have Devotion, Albert, John, and Deanna. Beautiful. But again, that is what I'm wearing on my eyes. I do have that shade there, and I have this one here, which I don't know if it's definitely not a metallic, but it's a beautiful shade. I have that one in the outer corner there. It's beautiful. All right, so the last question in the tag, with the tag that most people did, I know a few people added on extra questions, is your most used palette. And again, for me, I've only got 2 years plus of, you know, true makeup use. So I'm kind of limited as far as like really using up. There's so many palettes, so many that I unfortunately try a lot of palettes, and so I really haven't used up. I have not hit pan. I don't think I'll ever hit pan on any of my palettes because I have so many. But I did choose the Artist Couture again. I know I mentioned this one earlier, but the Supreme Nudes. I have really been finding that this one is just a great everyday neutral palette for me, and again, that's what I wear because I can still wear that to work, and you know, it just works. So again, there's the palette. It is beautiful. Sorry, don't mind my mirror. I did receive mine with a shattered mirror, so I just left the plastic on so it doesn't fall apart, but it still works. The shadows were fine. Nothing was wrong with them, so yeah, it is what it is. Not a big deal to me. Now again, I know there were a few people that added an extra question or two to their tag, so I did want to mention palettes that I thought were underrated, and I'm sorry, I'm going to mention 3 just because I want to shout these out and I feel it like these brands deserve some love. So one of them, which I think it was Sarah Hubler, I recently heard, or maybe during her tag, she had mentioned this, and actually that's kind of what stirred my curiosity, is this is from Flower Beauty, the Jungle Lights, and I think this is gorgeous. I mean, these metallic shades, for the money, I mean, they are just fabulous. I love those shades. Another couple brands that I've recently found, kind of your indie brands that don't get as much love, or I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about. One of them is Lethal Cosmetics, and this was a build your own palette that I put together. Some of the tones are a little bit similar, and I could have gone a little bit more colorful, but again, I just knew that I wouldn't use colorful shadows, but they're beautiful. The shadows are gorgeous. And another one which I wanted to give a shout out to and show some love is Colored Rain, Black-owned beauty brand. This is the palette, and this is their Queen of Hearts palette. And oh my gosh, when I opened this thing up, and the first time I did an eyeshadow look with this, oh my gosh, I mean, so pigmented, beautiful, beautiful. And again, I mean, if you know, night out or like a glam look, this will do the job for sure. But I just definitely wanted to give a shout out to them because I think their shadows are fabulous. I love their formula, so go check them out if you can. So, well guys, that wraps it up. Those are all my eyeshadow palettes for my tag, and again, I have so many, and I know a lot of us on YouTube do, so I'm sure there were a whole bunch I could have mentioned, but definitely some of my favorites. So yeah, so definitely if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, look out for more content coming. I did just get my camera, and thank goodness it's a sunny, beautiful day, so I've got a lot of natural light, thank goodness. So I appreciate you coming by. Hope you'll stop by again, and everyone have a fabulous day. Go enjoy the sunshine if you've got some your way. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.